Hello and welcome to the Ingles table. I'm Joe Lasher, and today I've teamed up with the National Pork Board and the North Carolina Pork Council to bring you an awesome recipe. Today I'm doing my pulled pork barbecue. Got everything I need for my local Ingles, so let's get started. Well, as you can see, we got a huge 10+ pound pork shoulder butt, okay? A lot of people are intimidated by this piece of meat, but you should not be. Today we're going to smoke it. I'm going to tell you how I do it. So first of all, you don't want to be afraid of it. Pick one of these up at your local grocer. It's the best, most versatile cut of meat as far as what you can do with it today, tomorrow, and the next day and the next day. So you cook one today, eat it for a week. So we've pulled this out of the vacuum seal. You can see on this side, we got a nice, what's called a fat cap on this side. This actually comes out of the shoulder of a hog. And what they've done is they've cut that. So we've got a bone side here. And on this side, we've got one little line of fat that I like to take out of here. So you just kind of take a sharp knife and you just kind of come in, cut down in a V here, and just pull that piece of fat out. All right, so we've taken that fat V out of there. I'm also going to look at this bone area where the meat's been cut. Make sure there's no fragments around there. We want to remove any of that you see. This is a nice clean piece of meat. I'm going to flip over to the fat cap side. You might take your knife if you want to do a little less. We're going to cook this actually fat side down, so it doesn't matter too much. All right, so today I've got an injector, and what that is simply a big syringe, a food injector. What I've done is I've mixed some apple cider, some Worcestershire sauce, some water, and a little bit of the barbecue rub that we're going to use on this pork butt into this mixture. If you've ever used one of these, simply put that in. Now, where most people, I think it's a critical mistake, is they just jam it in there and inject every bit of that. What you want to do is go every square inch of this pork butt, wherever you can get that needle in, and inject just a little bit, okay? And we're going to do this all over. I've got an injected piece of pork here. What we're going to do now is take our rub. Now this is just an off-the-shelf barbecue rub. Ingles has an amazing supply of barbecue rub. So pick one you like and go for it. If you like a little spicy, add some cayenne to it. But I'm just going to take this rub, and we're going to put this right onto here. And they call it rub for one reason. We're just going to rub this into this pork butt. We want to cover every inch of this thing. I mean, this is looking beautiful. So earlier I mentioned the bark. What we're going to do is we're going to take this to a smoker today. I've got it preset at 225 degrees. We're going to put it fat cap down right on the grate. We're going to let that go for 6 hours. We're going to set a timer for 6 hours, okay? At the end of that 6 hours, we're going to pull this off. We're going to put this into an aluminum pan. We're going to put a cup of apple juice in there and cover it with foil. We're going to put it back on the smoker. I'm going to start checking it at about 3.5 to 4 hours. So this pork butt has been on the smoker for about 5.5 hours. We've smoked it low and slow for 5.5 hours, almost 6. We're going to go ahead and put this into an aluminum pan. You can pick these up at Ingles. That's where I got these. And I'm simply putting about a cup of apple cider in here. Some folks, barbecue enthusiasts, may have some special mixture that they like to use. Some people will use citrus. It depends on if you're doing some kind of ethnic recipe where you're doing citrus barbecue. There's some mojo sauce, which is amazing with pork. But this is a straight barbecue rub, and so we're using apple cider today. I've got that there. One other tip, you got your aluminum foil. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but there's a shiny side and a dull side. Shiny side goes down, okay? That's supposed to keep the heat reflected back into the dish. We're gonna cover this with one. This is going back on the smoker at 225. I'm gonna let it go 3 to 4 more hours. I've got an instant read thermometer. We're gonna basically poke right through the center of this after about 3 hours and see where we are. I like to take my barbecue to 200 to 205 degrees. All right, so we've got this wrapped up. We're gonna let it go for about 3.5 to 4 more hours. We're gonna check with an instant read thermometer, or your smoker may have a meat probe. We're gonna go to 200 to 205 degrees and pull that. At that point, you can let it rest to the side on the counter. Let that rest for 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's not gonna lose too much heat. Or you can put it inside of a beverage cooler with a towel on top of it, let it rest for 2 hours, okay? I'm gonna take this back to the smoker, start that process, then we'll come back and look at the finished product. All right, folks, so we've been all-day cook, okay? It's gonna be totally worth it, because look what we have here. We have a beautiful, completely cooked pork butt. Now, what we have is this juice that's in here, and I'm gonna pour this off into a separate container, okay? Now, one sure sign that your pork is ready is that this bone is gonna come straight out, just like that, okay? We reached an internal temperature of about 205 degrees, and if you look, this stuff just starts to pull right apart. Go ahead and get yourself a separate pan. All you're gonna wanna do is start pulling this pork. You wanna look for any fatty pieces that may still be in there. Remember, we cut a lot of that out. If you notice, you can see in the camera, the fat portion is starting to separate from the juice portion of this. If there's any way, you can spoon that fat right off the top, pour that juice right back into there. And one tip is to grab a pancake batter dispenser, pour into there, you can just let that juice back in. Or you can eat it just like this. We've got really nice barbecue, not too fatty, nice and juicy. The smoke ring's amazing, and that bark is first rate. I'm proud of this one today. I want to thank you for joining me here at the Ingles table. We're proudly partnered with the National Pork Board and the North Carolina Pork Council on some tasty pork-inspired recipes. Be sure to check out the website and more, and I'll see you next time.